What's up, everybody? Welcome to CFP Talks. My name is Jonas, and with me, as always, is Mr. David Fuchs.
What's up, Joe?
What's up, buddy?
Nothing.
Do you know why um, kids love athletes so much? Like, why athletes? Like, why do they always have they don't get as tied to, actors or shows as much as there's something very unique about the way a kid gets tied to an athlete. Do you know why?
No.
Because they live out their dream. And there's something that is like so remarkable in watching a pro athlete, somebody that has started with a dream, they worked hard, and they actually got there to the top of their field where all eyes are on them. I think going into the CFP exam, one of the things that we always forget is that this started with a belief that you can go and do this. And that whether you realize it or not, there are eyes on you, and usually younger eyes on you that are looking to you. And now is the time to go and shine. And I think we all kind of start we forget that, you start get going in your career. You forget like you started off in this career probably for a specific reason. Maybe you enjoy helping people, maybe you enjoy the mathematics of it, maybe you enjoy the finance part of it, but just remember why you're doing this. And just remember that there's probably a set of eyes, whether they're a young pair of eyes, maybe they're a colleague, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your spouse. Now is the time to go and shine and finish this thing out strong, and take a breath and remember why you started this thing. Because for me, that always was whenever I got really stressed out, I was like, this thing was supposed to be enjoyable. And I get it. Not
Hmm.
every part of studying is enjoyable, but this was supposed to be something that enriched my life and made it better and made what I'm doing day to day better. Let me not lose sight of that while I'm going through this process.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's a great thing. Um, yeah, I mean, it all starts with kind of your thought. Really everybody's journey kind of starts at the end, picturing yourself passing the exam, getting to put the letters on your email and all that. Um, and just being able to say you did it. So yeah, I mean that's a great point. Is that anytime you get nervous or stressed or overwhelmed with anything, you got to kind of got to look back and say, number one, like it's an amazing accomplishment just to say I'm going to do this
Hmm.
and get through the studying and then sit down for the exam. So to put it in perspective, and at the end of the day, it's just an exam that is there to enhance your career and enhance your wealth of knowledge. Um, and I guess like sometimes your job depends on it, but at the end of the day, this isn't the seven, this isn't the 63 where, you're literally required to have it for some jobs. You're doing this for yourself. So you do have to at times kind of ground yourself and say, you know what, this is for my benefit. It's supposed to be fun. Let me kind of put this in perspective and if you have that mindset on the exam day, I think you'll be a little more loose and take the pressure off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of us, look, nobody wants to go into this test and fail, right? And it is a very, very hard thing to look at this exam and say there's only one metric of
Trick
success.
of six.
And we talk about this with students in class all the time, which is passing the exam is not our only marker of success. It's certainly one of the bigger ones, and for most of us, it's the biggest one, but your improvement, your problem solving skills. If you took the exam and you got red on all sections and you come back and you get 4 or 5 right, and then you end up passing the exam, that is a part of your journey, and there is no shame in that. That is not the only way that you succeed. And remember your dedication to improving yourself, to making yourself a better professional. For some of us, is going to take longer. For other of us, it's going to be shorter. And we all have ebbs and flows in our careers. Don't let the exam ruin the point,
Hmm.
right? And don't let it taint the point of you came in here to be a better professional. You came in here to get knowledge, whether your employer is requiring it or not. Absorb the material. It's going to make you a better professional. CFP board um, sometimes does things that are maddening to financial professionals, right? Case in point, one of their ads that they had going on Instagram and Facebook enraged half of the CFPs out there. They were so pissed with some of their advertising. And I get what the board is trying to do. However, when you look at it from the standpoint of the exam, I don't think the exam cheats the candidates. I think this exam actually makes you better. And if you're sitting there and you're going,
Absolutely.
and I didn't take this exam, and I'm sitting there and I'm feeling like, man, I got shortchanged by this exam. The exam is subjective. I don't want to do this. That is a point where CFP is saying, we need more from you. We need more from you as a pro. We need you to be a better problem solver. We need you to function under pressure because that's exactly what you're going to get in your career. So you have this rare sir that's actually demanding of you what your job is going to demand of you. I've rarely heard it from previous students where they came back and go, that exam was worthless. I have
No,
more people coming back and saying, yo, I want a refresher because I feel like I'm losing some of my CFP stuff that I don't use, and I don't want to lose that.
I was going to say it's actually the opposite because I feel like you could fail this exam and still come out on top just knowing even half of the material on the exam.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Because I remember, and I'll tell you, there's one really distinct moment in my career that I remember, and it was the point where I go, thank God I'm doing the CFP. I was a young advisor, I was in my first year. And I knew one of my buddies, my closest buddy, his sister was working in insurance. And she knew me, she knew my background. And if she thought a client was appropriate, she would refer them to me. And she referred this client to me. And they were a young couple, they were mid 30s. And they came into my office at Smith Barney in New Jersey at the time. And I was in the bullpen, so like I didn't have an office, so it wasn't like I could invite them into my office. So I booked this. We had this little conference room that we booked in one of our buildings, and I had them meet me there. And we walked in, and we sit down, and in this conference room is a whiteboard. And for whatever reason, they brought up estate planning. Right? They're like, they're in. She's pregnant. They're having a kid. They both have this history of working in pharmaceutical companies. They get let go. They get this big bonus. They go to another company, and um, one of them had just gone to a company. They got 10,000 shares of stock as their signing bonus at $5. We elected for an 83B, which they didn't even know existed. 2 years later, the company gets bought out at $170 a share. 165 bucks as a capital gain. On that board, I explained what an 83B election was and how a B trust works, and I was drawing it out. And they looked at me, David, like I was the smartest person on earth.
Yeah,
And I was like, thank God I'm taking this CFP
dude,
because I
totally. Like,
wouldn't have known how to do any of this. I wouldn't have known how to map it. I wouldn't have known how to do. And I think that was the moment that I go, thank God I'm taking this exam. Win or lose, I'm winning here because I'm winning with my clients. And that's really what I wanted out of that exam. So,
yeah.
the CFP has given us a whole lot more than what it's taken from us.
Oh yeah, 100%. And again, there's things that apply that are applicable to your job that you're not even thinking about when you're taking this exam. That I personally, I can't say this enough. Like, again, we talk about all these other designations that you can get or certificates that you can get just to add another letter to your resume. This one is the only or the first one that I've experienced where it's like this is very extremely applicable to the job and adds so much value to you in terms of the knowledge that you bring to the table. So great, absolutely agree with you on that. And yeah.
Well, speaking of where this episode started, for those of you who don't know, today is the last show that David will be doing with CFP Talks. And for those of you who might be new to the show or don't know this history, this show was conceived in a New York City
Hmm.
cafe, I want to say, or were
I
we
don't even
having
know.
lunch?
Yeah,
I can't remember. We were
cafe.
having lunch.
Yeah.
So I had worked with David, and after the exam, I was heading back to New York to see family. I was working in the city one day. David came up, met me for lunch. We had a coffee, and we were just hanging out and talking. And David said, "Look, I really want to do something with you. I don't know what it is, but I want to do something." And initially, you were helping me write practice questions. And I said to you, "Hey, maybe let's start running with this podcast idea." And we did it. And it started with this tiny little seed and a belief.
Hmm.
And we are 214 shows in, which
Which
is
is crazy.
insane to
Which is
me.
insane. Yeah, to think that we've done over 200 shows together, but it just shows you the consistency and commitment that we've had. And it's been a great run.
And, I owe you a great debt of gratitude. The CFP talks wouldn't be where it is without you. Personally, from a business standpoint, like I can't be more grateful that we've gotten to, cross paths here. But more importantly, in your career, it has been amazing to watch you grow. Where you started and where you are now, you are two different people.
Yeah,
To think about when we first met, where you were just career wise.
yeah.
Um, so just tell everybody where you were career wise before you took CFP.
I was a internal wholesaler at BNY Mellon, um, selling mutual funds, ETFs, and SMAs, and I knew I didn't want to be on the distribution side anymore. That was the second sales desk that I was on, and I wanted to make the move over to what I would consider and classify as wealth management, which is synonymous with financial advisor. And I knew I had to kind of enhance my resume before looking because I wanted to go into a specific type of situation. And I knew that getting the CFP was probably the best thing, most beneficial thing that I can do without getting some real, actual, tangible experience as an advisor. So I decided that I was going to do that while working full time on the sales desk and failed it the first time I took it. I tried it by myself. Was connected with Joe through our good friend Sid Mishra, who I guess is somewhat of like a LinkedIn celebrity now.
He is.
Um,
He's a total LinkedIn celebrity
yeah, so
and an
I
all
knew,
around New Jersey celebrity.
yeah, so I knew Sid. We 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 overlapped at Equitable for a short amount of time, maybe 5 or 6 months. But we actually ended up we actually sat directly next to each other.
Uh,
And we also have now I very, very close mutual friends. He connected me because same thing. He did not pass it the first time. He then used Joe, helped him pass the second time. He connected me with Joe, and here we are. I passed the exam and eventually made the move to an RIA that I am currently at, and it's a good situation. So,
yeah, and
um,
your role seems like it's continuing to expand and you
yeah,
continue to grow. And you know, even just seeing your career growth from when you started to where you are now, where like you're kind of dilly dallying around solutions, trying to figure it out, and it looks like not just the exam, but obviously the on job experience has
Yeah,
kind of changed everything the way that you've kind of even viewed this whole thing.
yeah.
So for everybody, David, we're gonna miss you.
I'll
Uh,
miss you guys too.
so for everybody who's listened to this show while taking the exam, and we've gotten a good amount of emails of people who've come back and said, we listened to you.
Yeah,
From all of those people, on behalf of all those people, thank you, David.
yeah.
You have any final thoughts that you want to share with
Yeah.
the CFP community before we head
Yeah.
out?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, listen, the feelings are very mutual. I appreciate you, bringing me on board and giving me an opportunity and, kind of trusting me to really head, a small sliver of your overall business. You definitely instilled a lot of like hard work ethic, um, habits in me going back to when we were prepping for the exam. And even here, like, there were times early on I would fuck up like editing or I would fuck up whatever it was that I was doing. And, you kind of give it to me a little bit. And, you know, that certainly in terms of organization and attention to detail, definitely was huge from you. But, in terms of also the community, I'm happy we're able to have this podcast that gives people a little bit of a different perspective on the exam, not just
Yeah,
material and lessons. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from students or prospective students, or even honestly people that just like have somehow came across the show.
yeah,
So I'm happy to see that that's an impact. This exam, I have the utmost respect for this exam and anyone that has, the letters and the designation. And we always say it, this exam's no joke. It adds the most value by far of any of the other designations that you can get in the industry. And it's been a nice run. It's been a pleasure working with you. And, I know you and Ramen, who I'm sure you're going to introduce at some point.
yep,
I think you guys are going to continue to bring this thing to the next level. So
yeah. I mean,
thank you for the opportunity.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome, pretty awesome. And we've gotten, it's crazy. We do about 12 to 15-minute episodes. And, this show has been watched. Let's see where we are. We've had over 6,000 people watch these shows, which is
That's a lot.
nuts to me.
It is. It really is.
So for everybody who's listened to 10 seconds or 10 minutes or 10 hours, we appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to the next chapter of the show. But David, it's been a hell of a run, man.
It has. It has.
Been a hell of a run. So
Yep.
with that being said, everybody, we hope you enjoyed this video. With any questions, comments, or concerns, reach out to David or myself, and we will see you in our next episode.
Actually, sorry, before you hit end on the record button, sorry,
Yes.
sorry, sorry,
One
sorry,
more.
sorry. What I wanted to say is that even though I'm not going to be routinely on this with Joe, I'm still going to be around. Um, I'm still uh, I'm still, available if you want to reach out, anybody listening, to talk about the exam or talk about career advice or whatever it is. I know I talked to a lot of you guys who are thinking about taking the exam and thinking about going into Joe's course. So I'm still around for that as well. And I'm sure Joe and I will work it out. I'm sure this is not the last time I'm ever going to appear on CFP Talk. So it's been a hell of a run, but I'll still be nearby and close by. And I'm looking forward to talking to you guys again soon.
Yeah, you better. All right, boss. All right, guys, take it easy, and we'll see you on our next episode.